Governor, just to get back to the recalls for a minute. Two questions. One is, this will be by far the most expensive governor's race in history. What's the effect of all that money in state politics? And second, is there a permanent change in state politics as a result of sort of the recall era we've been in?
I think on the latter question, it depends on the outcome. I think if somebody other than me is elected on June 5th, it will fundamentally change elections in Wisconsin, and it'll fundamentally change recalls. Because I think you'll have a recall the year after, and you have a recall the year after, and you have a recall the year after. I think if people don't like recalls, the last thing you want to do is vote to recall me, the lieutenant governor, or any of the senators. Because I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that if a year from now, if collective bargaining is back, taxes go up through the roof, or whatever it takes to balance the budget, that there won't be, because as I mentioned, long before I was governor, the state's been just about equally divided on politics. There'll be another group on the other side, it'll be like a ping pong. It'll be a recall ping pong. And it'll go back and forth. And I think that's bad, not just for elections, I think it's bad for jobs. I think employers will be scared to death of that. You'll see instead of not only job growth, I think you'll see retraction as employers go somewhere else. I think that's a horrendous outcome. I think the best way for us to move forward is not just, and sound self-serving, but I do think, set me aside, I think for each of the people on the ballot June 5th to win, that's the best way to move the state forward, not only on policy, but in terms of these elections. And then take it a step further and say, having learned, put some of the questions about what would you do differently. I mean, I think if you look at education reform, you guys have covered it, talked about it, even editorialized it, which I appreciate. But most voters don't know much about any of the education reform we've done besides Act 10. Why? Because Dr. Tony Evers and I started out on it last March on the reading initiative, and then we worked on educator effectiveness, and then we worked on school and school district accountability, and we brought people together on it. We brought stakeholders to the table, and we didn't punch each other in the nose, and we didn't call each other names, and we didn't have a big fight. Well, that's how we've gotten things done. So I think in terms of track record, people say, how are things going to change? You get past June 5th, I think many of the people on either side of the issue that have come in from other states move on to Ohio or Florida or wherever else they're going to go. We get back to business here. And I think after that recall, I think the voters of this state, I think, will demand from both Republicans and Democrats in the legislature, that there permanent changes be made to the recall laws in the state and in the Constitution, so that you have recalls for really big issues like misconduct in office or something like that. But I'm not here to debate. The law is what it is, and so we're having an election, and I'm not going to cry over spilt milk over that. But I think long-term people want to change it. I think on the dollar part, I think because it's become such a national issue when all the interest groups came in and then others tried to counter it and balance it off, that's why the size of the money so big. I don't think you'll ever see anything close to this in Wisconsin again. I don't think it's suddenly escalated. I think it'll go back.